Well, good evening, everybody. I'm getting texts. What do I do if I almost hit a black cat? What does it mean? My response, whatever meaning you give it. My sense is you were protected from killing an animal, and that's a good thing. So whatever meaning we give to something is the meaning that it has. All right, I got a couple of questions already. Hi, Paige, how are you? I did not invite anyone, though that doesn't mean that, you're not welcome. Anybody? Hi, Meredith, nice to see you. So this is an Ask Me Anything session, and whatever questions you have, it could be about love, manifesting, it could be about relationships, it could be about a dream you had, it could be you need guidance about something, whatever it is that you have a desire to know about. So, hi David, nice to see you. So tomorrow, hi Nick, Nick is there too. Nick is my hero. He rescued my dog Karma from the jaws of a pit bull. I am forever indebted to that man. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so I just wanted to say that I've already gotten a couple of questions from Marika. And hang on one second, I have to see if I can get there. Oh dear. So one of the things that she asked was, if you're having a meltdown moment, if you are in the middle of, oh my goodness, I'm being triggered, I want to kill somebody, I want to strangle somebody, I whatever it is that's coming up, and you are having a really strong visceral reaction. And that is often when we get off center and off kilter. And it actually happened to me, let's see, about 5 months ago, maybe. After my concussion, and my emotions were running very high. And, when you've had a brain injury, what happens? Hi, Megan. Nice to see you. So lots of people from my past are showing up, which I absolutely love. Megan lived next door to us with her family when we were living in Alpharetta. We lived in this nice, really nice neighborhood in Alpharetta when we were in civilization. And Debbie Waterman from my days at Emory. I think we went to elementary school together too, didn't we, Debbie? Okay, so what we're talking about right now is what happens, or what can you do when you're having a really strong emotional response to something. Typically, this is not something that's really coming out of the blue, though we think it is because we haven't been addressing it. So I will just say, when somebody triggers us, it's so easy to just want to throttle that other person, when really, we are the ones that have to take responsibility for it. And we have a tendency to go into blame. And we have a tendency to do that when we feel like we're being victimized. And so we don't want to be thinking like a victim. We don't want to be in that energy. But what I will tell you is, do you remember back in the 50s and the 60s, we used to hear, parents count to 10? Well, there's a reason for that, because, parents might want to really hurt their kids. And so counting to 10 gives you a moment to just breathe. And when you breathe, well, usually when you're upset or angry, okay, Bettina says that 2 people are making her feel like that right now. Okay, so when we feel like we just want to throttle the other person, and it doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter if it's our kids, our husband, our ex, our mom, our dad, it doesn't matter who it is, the fact that we are the ones that are being triggered, it means that we are the ones with the issue. And I'm going to tell you a little story, because it happened to me with my friend Shannon. I live in her guest house on this beautiful property in Newhall, and it's fabulous. I have my own private entrance, my own private driveway. I am out in the middle of this beautiful neighborhood that I couldn't afford normally, but $1 million homes all around. So I am very, very fortunate to be in this situation, and I have 6 animals. And Shannon and I had some unaddressed business. And I know she wouldn't mind me sharing this because we're going to do a video about it probably in another week. So when there's unaddressed business, and I just want you all to just breathe for a second. Okay, somebody sent me a private message. I'll see it in just a sec, Deb. So when we are feeling overwhelmed and really emotional, it's because something feels like the past. Maybe that person is saying something to you that sounds or feels like your mom or your dad. And maybe you just haven't put up the boundaries that you needed to. Maybe you've been saying yes or saying nothing. And we often do that. Lots of us were raised in families where, we were told, put up or shut up. Shut up or I'll give you something to cry about, or something to that effect. So when we have been told not to speak our truth, not to speak up for ourselves, and we're not allowed to set healthy limits and boundaries, what often happens is as we get older, and here we are, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, if we haven't been setting good boundaries, then this stuff becomes really big. And rather than being something small that we can easily address, we blow up. And that's what happened with me. I blew up. And so a couple of things were in place. I had been, and I'm giving this as my example because I think that if I can tell my story, I had been cleaning horse stalls for 6 months and working really, really hard. And in the heat, 110-degree heat, and I just felt like I was being given more and more and more jobs to do and not appreciated. And that, that's the way it was in my childhood. And also, rather than me speaking up and saying, no, I won't do that, or no, I can't do that, that's in addition to what we agreed to, I just kept my mouth shut. And now, that wasn't my friend's problem that I kept my mouth shut, because she's quite adept at taking things. She's very used to somebody pushing back, and once I did start to push back, she's fine with it. But while I was silenced, while I was not speaking what was in my heart or in here, and just stifling what I wanted to say, I was getting angry. And now, was it her fault that I was angry with her? No. So she was teaching me a lesson. I wasn't learning the lesson. It took me 6 months till I exploded. And we're good now. And now, the minute something is not right, I message her and I mention it and I bring it up. Could we do this differently? Could we do that differently? Is there some way you could grab your cat? Is there some way you could get your dog? And that is the thing that we need to do. Instead of waiting 6 months or a year or maybe 10 years, maybe you've been in a relationship with someone. It could be, like I said, a family member or a spouse that you have been suppressing and subjugating your needs, allowing them to continue to get what they want, but you're not setting boundaries. So it's up to us to set the boundaries a little at a time without having to get to the point of screaming at somebody else. So Marika, does that answer your question, or do I need to give you a tool to use when you are in that explosive state? Would that be helpful? What do you all think? What do you need? So I'm going to say the thing of it is, when we respond and blow up, it's a couple of things. Okay, tools. Ashley said tools. Yes, thank you. Okay, so I'm really watching the chat. So if you could message, what it is that you'd like. then I will absolutely help you with that. Okay, so Marika says she's not explosive. Okay, so what we need to do is get grounded. And how we do that is we can just breathe, because usually when we're upset, we're not breathing. We're usually holding our breath. And so when we're holding our breath, we're not grounded. So the first thing that you need to do when something's going on, you could tell the person, put your hand up. This is a really good sign. Can you hang on a second? I need a minute. Just give me a minute. And then turn around and just, take a moment. Walk away. Or if you're on the phone and it's happening like right there, and just say, I need to do something right now. Can I give you a call back? That way you can calm yourself down instead of having to deal with it, immediately. If it's okay. I misunderstood the question then. Okay, so Marika says that it has to do with, okay, so when you're really smitten about somebody and you're so concerned, okay, I'll tell you what to do there. So let's just say that there's someone that you're really interested in, and the bottom line is that we need to be human. We need to be who we are. We need to be as authentic as we can be. And it's okay to tell somebody, I'm pretty excited to be with you. That I'm all full of bubbles. I'm feeling really happy. It would make somebody feel really good to know that. Okay, so if you're having anxiety, breath. So the vagus nerve is something that it's not like going to Vegas, but vagus nerve. Okay, I have an article where I talk about it. I posted a day or so ago. So the vagus nerve runs from the left side of the neck and goes all the way down to the lungs, to the heart, through all of the organs. And the vagus nerve, it is an amazing organ. If you read anything about it, using this breath, and I can show you how to do it, where you take 30 breaths, and you hold your breath, so you're breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth, 30 times. And, do that before you're going to be going somewhere. So you're really oxygenated. Your blood and your organs are really at their peak performance. You're going to feel a lot better. But my sense is when you're anxious, you're not breathing. And a couple of deep breaths, absolutely, Philip. Yes. So when we're anxious, it happens because we're not breathing. When my self-esteem was in the toilet, and this was, let's say 30 years, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, I noticed I was laying on a practitioner's table. And laying on that table, because I was quiet and peaceful, I'm going to give you something else too. I recognized I wasn't breathing. I was holding my breath much of the time. For almost 40 minutes or more. So when we are barely breathing, we're not affirming life, and our organs aren't functioning properly. Our blood's not oxygenated properly. So the biggest issue most people have today is a lack of breath. And yoga helps with that. Meditation helps with that. So, you put your fingers together, and I passed a meditation on to Marika today, which she did, and I think that helped her. It goes through, so you're meditating and you are breathing, and with each breath you use the fingers 8 times to count the number of breaths. So it's called soul sync meditation. So what you're doing is you're focusing on the breath. It's giving you a physical thing to do to focus on your breath. So you could even do that while you're sitting at the table with somebody, you know, just breathing. But my sense is, yeah, my sense is if people were breathing more deeply on a regular basis, they wouldn't have to take medication. So one of the issues is this, that we're constantly checking the cell phone. You know, it's beeping and dinging. And when it does that, it draws our focus away from ourselves. And every time the phone beeps or dings, or, you know, we hear something on this thing, it takes us away from our center. And so I would caution you to put this thing aside for a couple of hours a day and see how much less anxiety you have when you're not messing with, where's my phone? And I wonder if anyone's getting me. I wonder if anybody needs me. Because even there's been research done that even when the phones are on the conference table, not ringing, they're a distraction. They take people away from their mind, away from their center. So the cell phones, and I'll tell you this, I'm going to be completely honest, our cell phones are our undoing. Now, I am going to Canada this week, and I'm going to be gone for 8 days. It's a long time for me to be away from home and my animals. And this is not going to be coming out because I'm going to be with people I haven't seen in a long time. And I'm going to give them my full attention because, you know, I spent money to go there. I'm going to be braving the cold weather. I want people to feel me. I want people to, you know, so if I was sitting like this with you and talking to you and listening to your every word, how does it feel, Marika, when I'm looking at you? Breathe. Just breathe. So just, you know, that couple of minutes there while I was just breathing, I felt myself calming down. Okay, so there's a couple of other things that I can teach you too. So for a lot of years, I've been doing this where when I'm resting, when I'm working or meditating, my tongue goes in the roof of my mouth and I leave it there. And what it does is so many things. It quiets the mind. So I just want you all to put your tongue on the top of your mouth, close your mouth, and don't put your teeth together. So that's the other thing. I have an overbite. My parents, didn't have the money for braces, and I think I would have had to have my jaw wired shut in surgery. They didn't have that kind of money. So it wasn't that important. So I have an overbite. And so to compensate, I don't put my teeth together. I leave them kind of suspended. And for me, that helps to calm me down because I used to have bruxism, and that was a grinding of the teeth. And I know lots of people that have low self-esteem grind their teeth. So putting your tongue on the top of your mouth, that's one thing. And I'm also going to show you this. So you do this with your hands. You see what I'm doing? I'm going to try and get my hands in like this and turn them up. And then you can cross your legs too. Standing up works best, but you can cross your legs. Just hold them like that in front of your chest. Even if you're in a crowd, you could do it. And somebody might say, "Are you okay?" You just I'm giving myself a little hug. And then put the tongue on the top of your mouth. Breathe. So is everybody breathing? I feel like everyone has calmed down. Okay. Okay. Now, I think somebody else had a question. I need to see if I can, if you could post it there. If not, I'm going to see if I can check my messages. I might. Okay. Okay. Does anybody else have a question? If not, I have something I'd like to share. I'd like to talk about how situations that appear to be bad or negative can actually be the best thing ever. How does that sound? Anybody interested? Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Let's just say, you know, you're married, and you know, I have people come to me that they're married and they want their husband back. It's usually the woman that wants their husband back instead of the other way around. And I've had, you know, young ladies come to me that are looking to have their partner back. They want their boyfriend back. And meanwhile, let me just give you a couple of examples of the things going on in these relationships. Maybe the man's had an affair, or maybe he's thinking about having an affair, or maybe he's not working, or maybe he's out till 4 o'clock in the morning every night, coming home late. Maybe he's not contributing to the marriage and the financial pot, or you know, maybe he dumped this person and, you know, he's gone off with another girl, and then he's broken up with her and he flirts with someone else. So you're seeing all these behaviors, but these ladies are wanting these men back. Now, from my perspective, I see, because I'm not attached, I'm out of the picture, I'm kind of above it. Oh yes, or working too much. Absolutely. And I look at the situation and go, you know what? You're so lucky. Here you are. He's left you. You've got a house. You can do whatever you want. But what happens is we're so attached. We can become so attached to the relationship, even more so than the person. And, you know, I was talking to someone earlier today, and that often we stay in bad relationships because the idea or prospect, I just want you to breathe for a minute, the idea or prospect of being out in the world dating again is so abhorrent to you. It is the last thing that you want to be doing, is being back in the dating world or to be alone. And let me just say, for someone, like for me, I can be an introvert and I can be an extrovert. I can be very happy by myself, but I used to be codependent. I used to have a relationship, but now I'm in a place where I so love and respect myself and revere me that unless the relationship is going to raise me up to a higher level in all ways and be the icing on my beautiful cake, I'm not interested. So I think that we all have to raise our levels of expectations so that, first of all, love you first. Love yourself first. Heal, you know, heal thyself first. And when we're happy with us, then we're not going to take crap from somebody else. We're going to look at that and go, hey, you don't like the fact that I'm the full-time mom, the full-time worker, the full-time everything, and that's not good enough? Okay. I see it as a great gift, and that she's got many opportunities out there waiting for her. Okay, let's just say maybe you get fired or laid off from your job, and that happens too. So the way I look at things, when I see something that appears negative, and I say appears, I look at it as, I wonder how this could be the best thing that ever happened. When we go into that wonderment, and when I say wonderment, we look at the situation from above with the eyes of a child with non-attachment. And then we could see the infinite possibilities that could be way greater, because maybe losing that job, maybe you hated the job, or maybe it wasn't what you really wanted, or wasn't what your heart desired. So we always have to change the way we're looking at something and look at the infinite possibilities, so turn and face the other direction. Now, Philip commented that we often lose ourselves in relationships. Well, I would say that when we don't love ourselves completely, we don't accept ourselves completely, and we're looking for someone to complete us, then we can lose ourselves in relationships. But once we come to a place of loving and accepting ourselves for who and what we are, then we hold ourselves in higher regard, and we want someone else that does the same. And when we're codependent, that's when we put the relationship above our personal well-being. Okay, I'm looking to see. Hello, Amy. Nice to see you, and new people that joined. Tazarius, thank you for joining. Hello, everyone. Okay, hang on 1 second. Okay, got a good question here. So if you want to send me a message, if I'm one of your friends, you can send me a message or request here on the chat. So I just got a request to mention and talk about overeating. So everybody take a breath, because I know we've all done this from time to time. There's a lot of reasons for overeating. And one of the things that I've noticed, and it's happening less for me today than it used to, but when I felt empty inside, when I felt lost, when I was upset, when I was having emotions bubble up, when I was having challenges in my relationships or with my family members, then I would often sit down with a half a gallon of ice cream and sit in front of the TV and just, like a robot. And when we're eating like a robot, the issue is that we're unaware. Hi, Kimberly. So when we get to that place of not being aware of the way we're eating, and it can be in different ways, maybe driving in the car where you just are robotic. It's a matter of not being connected with yourself. You're not grounded in your body. And so the first thing I would say is, before you start to eat, bless the food. And all you have to do is put your hands on either side of it. I bless this food to my highest use, and that I will eat in moderation. And so, you're putting that intention into the food. So that's one way. Another is to serve it out in a portion. But what I would recommend you do is, what am I feeling now? What is the emotion that's coming up for me now that is asking me to see and feel it? And oftentimes it's something that we don't want to look at, or we've been stuffing systematically for years, decades, maybe a lifetime. And when we stop stuffing the emotions and we start recognizing what it is in the moment, and all we have to do is move into it and ask to feel it fully, take a deep breath, because that holding the breath is causing you to stay in that place of disconnection and numbness. So you want to breathe and just, what is this emotion I'm feeling? Where have I felt it before? Was it associated with my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, or an ex perhaps? When did I feel this way last? What did I do that last time? Asking questions and waiting for an answer, you're going to get the connection with your high self, your divine self, or your guides are going to come through, and you're going to get some answers. And when you have answers, then you can say, okay, maybe I need to journal about this, or maybe I need to go for a walk and I need to think more about this. My sense is the biggest issue with overeating has to do with being disconnected from ourselves, not being grounded. And then the other thing is, if we are trying to fill a void, I would recommend meditation. When you meditate a couple times a day, and I have several that I could recommend. I have one on YouTube, but there's another one, the Soul Sync meditation. It's very easy. It's like 5 different activities, and it will take you deep very quickly. So good, I'm glad I answered the questions. Anybody else have an issue with eating and food? I will tell you this, when Ariel, my youngest, was at home, it was just her and I. And I guess her older brother, she seemed to have more issues with Adam than with David. But when Adam had upset her, she would text me and, oh, by the way, Mom, bring home ice cream. I'm upset with Adam. So she already was connecting the dots between, I've got an emotion, I don't want to deal with it, and I want something to suppress it. So she was quite aware of what she was doing with the food and what type of food she wanted. So I stopped buying ice cream. I don't buy it anymore. I'm not eating it anymore. And hey, I love it. I love ice cream. But the last pint that I brought, there's still, I have this much. Wait, where's the, there. That much still left in the container. It's been in there for now 3 months. I should just toss it. But if there's something in particular that you know is your trigger, it's your food that you'll eat and eat and eat, don't buy it. And in a week, 14 days tops without eating it, I promise you, if you do meditation and if you do deep breathing, and I've got a couple of exercises, you'll kick the habit. I haven't had a sweet in, I'm trying to think. I have to be honest. So I think it's been at least 6 or 7 days, maybe more, 7 days. Usually when I'm writing a book, I sit at my computer and I have a pack of cookies next to me. And so about a week ago, I said, okay, no more cookies. I'm going to stop doing that. Because, you know, while we're working, we can eat distractedly, and it's very easy. So it's a matter of not being grounded, not breathing, and doing something to take away the pain. So sex can do the same thing. We can, you know, long time ago, hasn't been happening recently, but a long time ago, I used to use sex to take me out of my misery. Or sports, volleyball and swimming and that sort of thing. So, you know, there's lots of different ways that we can suppress emotions. Hello, Star. Nice to see you. Okay. Anybody else have a question? I'd like to talk about codependency until someone else has a question. Hello, Star. So, in case you don't know my background, and I allude to a little bit of it in my videos and stuff, I had a really difficult childhood. My mother has had psychotic break after psychotic break. She was an orphan at 5. Her mother died after the last child. She had 6 home births, and there was no one there to help her. And 6 months after she died, her father molested her older sister. My mother was only 5, but she was very sensitive and aware. And I sensed that she was probably empathic too. So she woke up in the middle of the night for her and saw her father climbing up a ladder, going into the attic to bring down I think it was a 50-pound bag of sugar, because he was going to poison himself. So this man that had 6 children decided he was going to kill himself, and he did. Killed himself, left those kids to be orphaned, no mother, no father, and my mother was 5. So to anybody here that's listening, I have to say, if you've lost a parent and you're under 20 and under, it's a big challenge to lose a parent. To lose a mother is a terrible thing. But my mother at 5 lost both parents. And so it's a very emotional thing for me here. So that was her side. And my father at 7 was living in Toronto with his family. And I don't know what happened. I can only assume and guess. I don't like to assume, but my sense is he was molested in his household and beaten. And he, at age 7, hopped on a freight train from Toronto and went all the way to Vancouver. And he did it again at 12. Now, when he got home, his father had to pay for his fare. He was pretty angry, and he beat him again. So at 16, he got on a merchant marine ship, lied about his age, and he left. Now, I left home at 16 too. But a lot of dark stuff happened in my household. It wasn't safe for me. I was molested for 7 years in my household. I would go to sleep and be awakened with a penis somewhere. And so for the longest time, I, was victimized. So that was the formation of my childhood. And so what that caused me to do, because I didn't know what to do with this pain that I had, I was guilt-ridden and full of shame. At age 16, I read Siddhartha, and I wanted to become enlightened. That became my goal, because I knew there was something better. There was something more out there. Thank you, Philip. But I'm gonna address the sad side of that too in just a second. But I knew that there's more to life than pain, suffering, going to school, getting an education, getting married, having babies, and dying, working and dying. I knew at 16 there was more out there for me, and I wanted it. I wanted to become enlightened. And the way I look at things now, that what happened in my childhood, that I am the one, that this has probably been going on for who knows how many generations, because sexual abuse usually is generational. It is in families, generation after generation after generation. And, it happened in my mother's family too. So I'm the one to stop it, and I'm the one to heal it. And I've healed myself as well. And so in that, what I do, I've used my own healing to then go and help other people, so that because of my understanding of what it's for, that everybody on this earth suffers in some way. Everybody has some sort of trauma, whether it's a learning disability or the loss of a parent or the loss of a child or the loss of a mate. There's so many different traumas that people can have. So that trauma is not supposed to cripple us. It's not supposed to keep us there in suffering. It's supposed to be the catalyst for us to then grow beyond that pain. And, you know, pain is the catalyst for growth. So, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I do the videos I do, because I was so codependent. I went from relationship to relationship. I went from marriage to marriage, and each one worse than the one before. And so I finally discovered at the end of my third marriage that, oh wow, I am the common denominator in all my relationships. And what did that show me? I had to stop blaming everybody else, and I had to take responsibility for me. And that was the turning point in my life when I said, you know what? I'm only a victim if I believe I am, and I have to take responsibility for myself. And so, you know, I tell my story only to teach that you can overcome it no matter what it is, and that we're here to be happy. We're here to express that happiness and joy in various ways, and to take whatever it is that we're given by the Creator or by the universe, whoever you want to say did it for us, that's all a gift. And we're to learn the lessons and learn really how to let go, to be completely authentic instead of a fake version of who we are, to really love fully. And I'll tell you, my kids have helped me, my animals have helped me, yeah, it's never too late to turn our lives around. And you know, I'm 63, 2018, and I don't want to. I'm not rushing it, but I will be 64 later this year. I am so happy with who I am, what I'm doing. You know, I've done lots of different things. I was a flight attendant. I did sales. I actually did what they used to call it, I sold bodies. I used to do like a manpower type of placement agency type thing. I sold dictation equipment. I did training for Mohawk Data Sciences. I've done all kinds of things. And I had a landscape business from 2001 to 2011. And I absolutely loved that. I became a master gardener first. And I have to say, doing people's yards and gardening, and I did feng shui in the garden. And that was an amazing, amazing business. That was my first business, and I became a hypnotherapist in 1998 and energy healing in 2007. So enough about me. What would you like to do next? Because I have a little bit more time. I was going to go the full hour. So Helen has said, this has been a wonderful testimonial. It's never too late to turn our lives around. Thank you, Helen. Helen and I met when I was doing a part-time gig on Fiverr a number of years ago when I was getting my coaching business going. I still have a presence on Fiverr. I'm just not doing anything there anymore. But my page is still up, the Self-Love Guru. And, you know, that year I did thousands. I did 3,000 clearings in less than 12 months on Fiverr. And it was, that's where Helen and I met. So she joined me in Facebook. So let's see. What does I want to know what you need. Because if you ask for your need to be met, I'm sure there are other people here that have the same need. If it's how to overcome a challenge, Oh, how do I clear the sadness I feel from my children? Okay, Star. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little story. So this is the way it's meant to be. And is it okay if I use the F word? So this is what happens. Our parents mess up our lives. You could say they F up our lives. And then we have our children, and then we mess up their lives. And then they have their own experience of dealing with whatever has rolled down the pike for them. And what we have to do as parents is, see this? Heart ties. Heart ties. Pull the heart ties, Star. Let's do this together. Okay, because we're not supposed to be attached. We are supposed to love without attachment. What does that mean? We give them all our love. We teach them all we can. And then we let them go. Fly, little birdie, fly. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to hang on. And we're not supposed to hear all the crap that's going on in their lives. So you turn that off. Tell them to stop it. You don't want their drama. Take it over there. My kids don't involve me in their drama. Thank the Lord they don't do that. I'm so grateful. My daughter doesn't call me up and say, no. Josh did this, Josh did that. No, she doesn't do that. And she's my youngest. So I don't know if it's because they don't want to hear my suggestions, but they very rarely ask. They might ask me for a clearing. So what we have to do is let go. And we have to love without attachment. We love them at a distance. We've done everything we can possibly do as parents. And then they have their own experience. They have their own mistakes to make, their own lessons to learn, and let them go. You just have to, whatever. Okay. Gee, that's too bad. So there was a psychologist when I was going through my divorce with Ariel's dad. And he was a psychiatrist, actually, wonderful man in Atlanta. And he had this big poster on his wall. And I asked him about it because he said that we should never tell our children that we are proud of them. Excuse me 1 second. And I said, really? I just want to repeat that because I want you to really hear me. So we should never tell our children that we are proud of them. So why do you think that might be? Does anybody have any idea? Anybody? Just take a guess. Star, why do you think that we shouldn't tell our kids that we're proud of them? Helen, do you know? I'll give you the answer. Okay, take a breath, everybody. We are responsible for ourselves. Once we become the age of majority, which is 18, we are responsible for ourselves. We're responsible for our happiness. We're responsible for staying out of jail. We're responsible for feeding ourselves. We're responsible for clothing ourselves. We're responsible for being happy. We're also responsible for validating ourselves. We shouldn't be looking to mommy and daddy. Oh, look at what I did, mommy. See what I did? No. So we are supposed to validate ourselves. Self-validation. We give our kids the tools and then they fly. So they need to take care of themselves. They need to be fiscally responsible. That means we don't give them money. We don't buy them cars. I mean, that's totally up to you guys, but it's not my thing. Kids need to thrive on their own. They need to be responsible for themselves. Because if we're not making them responsible for themselves, allowing them to be their own person, because they are, we're crippling them. So I would say there's enmeshment happening, Star. And when you're enmeshed with your kids, that's like this. And you want to be like this. So you got to pull back, let go. I speak about this from my own personal experience, because my oldest and I were enmeshed at one time, and I didn't see it. So it often happens when our parents were enmeshed with us. And what does that mean? It means that there's no clear boundaries between where you are and where they begin. And you're so close in each other's business, there's no boundaries. It's like your boundaries are behind you. So, would you like a little energy clearing? And I'll help to let you go, let the sadness go, Star, because I feel Star suffering. So I'd be glad to do a little bit of energy clearing if you're willing. So can you guys, I don't know who's here. There were a bunch of people there. So can you please just say, yes, please, I would like this. I would like you to clear this. It could be an emotion. It could be a belief. What is it you'd like me to clear? And we can do that. But I'd like to hear from you first before, if you're still there. Let me see if I have a message. All right, I can clear sadness. So I want to talk about loving without attachment. Somebody's asking for my email address. By the way, my email address, if you need it, it's, I forgot there for a second. What is it? JenniferElizabethMasters@gmail.com. JenniferElizabethMasters@gmail.com. I will give it to you. Oh, and while we're here, if you don't mind, I would love it if you guys would share my videos, share my posts. I am working my butt off to get the word out to more people. Next month, I am on You Wealth Revolution, and I would really like this to be a big launch for You Wealth Revolution. They've invited me to be there, and my newsletter list is not very big. It used to be bigger, and so if you're interested, I am willing to give, let's see, what would you like? I could give an ebook away for joining my email list. Oh, Jackie just shared my video. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you. I could give my Odyssey Victim to Victory book away as an ebook if you're interested in that. I have podcasts, and I also have audio programs. Let's see, but I don't want to give a whole audio program. Let me think. I could give, let's see, anybody have a suggestion what you would like as a gift? Oh, wow. All right. So I'm going to do a little clearing for the sadness piece. So I'm just going to connect to your high selves. And in the meantime, I just want to say that what you want to do is, everyone has a heart tie. So if you feel, overwhelmed with sadness for your children, you need to let go of the heart ties. So a heart tie is here in the middle of your chest. I'll just lift up a little bit right here. And what you want to do is you're going to put your fist there, pull, extend your arm out all the way, open up your palm, and say, I release you with love. It's like this. Open up your palm. I release you with love. So the middle of your chest, you put your fist around the cord, pull it, it's invisible. I release you with love. And that would be helpful. Okay. I don't know if she saw that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do just a little bit of a clearing. Everyone, take a deep breath. Wow, I can feel hearts beating. So, asking to clear the 6 bodies comprising the soul, clear, remove, replace, elevate, and educate committee members to the highest level on chart 3. Clear vortexes, portals, veil of illusion, dark worms, wormholes, toxic streams, Illuminati, dark angels. Ask to apply grounding to your bodies and energy bodies. So ask to clear sadness. I ask to clear sorrow. Ask to clear grief. Wow. And I ask to clear anxiety. Energy, some grounding. All right, I am going to do a Cascade of Miracles prayer. I'm asking for a cascade of miracles to surround each and every one of you. I ask for this cascade of miracles to expand to all areas of your life, for your finances to be strong, your bank accounts to be filled, abundant, for your health to be vibrant, and for you to experience deep and connected love in your relationships. So I'm going to close, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Many blessings to you all. I love you. Thanks for watching. Good night, everyone.